So I'm standing between you and lunch. I'll try to not eat into the lunchtime. So today I'm going to talk about Munki 3. People sometimes say, is that all you ever talk about at conferences, is Munki, Munki, Munki? Because I am the primary developer for Munki. And no, I don't. As it turns out, at Penn State, I've only talked about Munki 14% of the time there. 25% at Mac Tech. A little over a third at Mac Sysadmin. And then it starts getting worse. I've only spoken twice in London. One time as Munki. And then here, sorry. That's all I've ever talked about. Maybe all I ever do talk about. Anyway, let's take a look. Munki's changed a lot over the years. When users interacted with Munki 1, they saw something that looked like this, which was patterned after Apple's software update application, which kind of saw the end of times, the feeble winter, what is it? Around Lion. So when Munki 2 was released, we aped, get it, Munki, aped? We aped the App Store. And so it looked like this. Users that were familiar with the App Store could very quickly understand what Managed Software Center was supposed to do. Maybe they could figure out very quickly how to interact with it. And then over time, Apple changed the look of it, and we adapted. We updated the look so that it looked like the Apple App Store. And so Munki 3 continues to follow Apple's interface trends. And here's a look. No user interface at all. We're just going to use Siri.
There are 43 updates pending for your computer. Would you like to install all updates now?
Nope.
No? Why not? They are really important.
And of course I'm kidding. We're not using Siri. Munki 3 actually doesn't look any different from Munki 2. Same user interface. Same user interface, at least as far as the users are concerned. But it does have some new features, and that's why I'm here. We're going to talk about those. First one, biggest one, depending on your point of view, I suppose, is native support for Mac OS X installer applications. So previously, you had to take a Mac OS X installer application and convert it into a package using the Create OS X Install Package toolkit. Apple kind of, sort of, mostly broke that with the release of 10.12.4. And so it just seemed like that was a good reason to dig in and see if I could get Munki to just use the app without having to go through that conversion step. So all you have to do when you get a new release of Mac OS X, you just Munki import it like you would any other piece of software. Munki import knows what it is and does the right stuff and imports it into your Munki repo. That's one step. There's no step 2 or 3. Next feature, also added with, in recent releases of Mac OS, is FileVault. And when you restart a machine that has FileVault involved, you have to enter a password in order to unlock the disk in order to continue booting. And so if you're using Munki to, say, upgrade versions of OS X, that can really throw a wrench into the works because the OS upgrade doesn't actually start until that initial reboot. So we've added a feature. Actually, the core of it came from Wes at Square. Hi, Wes. And that's support for authorized restarts. Now, you can do it 2 ways. The admin can provide a plist that contains a recovery key or password, and Munki will just use that to do an authorized restart. Or if you don't provide that key, you can let Managed Software Center prompt the user when there's a restart required. They would type in their password, assuming they're in the list of authorized FileVault users, and then it would be set up for an authorized restart so that it would proceed right into booting and not have to wait for the disk to be unlocked. This is completely an optional feature if you're not happy with the security implications of it, because you are asking for user passwords or you might be storing a password somewhere on disk. You don't have to use it. It's completely optional. So in Munki 2, when there were pending updates, Managed Software Center would notify you. You're busy working on a really important tweet, and then this thing pops up and it distracts you, and you forget what you were doing, and maybe could be hours before you fix what you did, right? Because you got distracted because of these updates that came up. So, very common request, and I struggled for a long time trying to figure out how to best implement it, was could Munki support Notification Center? Well, Munki 3 will. So, instead of this obnoxious thing popping up in your face like this, you're working along, and if there's some available updates, you just get a nice little reminder up in the upper right corner, which your users will ignore. But at least it's nicer. However, if they ignore too long, it will go back to the old obnoxious behavior of popping up the entire application in their face. And that's configurable how long it does that. By default, it's 3 days. So if they ignore updates for 3 days, then it starts getting more obnoxious. You could set it to 0. You could set it to 100, whatever you want. So then, since it didn't distract me, I notice my problem here, and I can fix it. So I don't look like an idiot on the internet. All right, what's next? About a year ago, I got this very unusual pull request. And this was it, and we looked at it. Several other people on the Munki dev list were looking at it, and we couldn't really understand what the heck they were trying to do. And a few months later, I think at Penn State, I bumped into Peter Havens from Centrify and talked to him about this. And he told me that Centrify was interested in offering Munki to their customers as the software management system for Macs. They didn't want to build something from scratch. They looked around. They said Munki would meet their needs pretty much. They just needed a few changes. And then their Centrify customers would be able to use Munki with a cloud-hosted solution. So the changes went through several iterations over a period of months. And just, about a month ago? Yeah, a little over a month ago, Centrify announced that they're shipping the solution so that their customers can opt into a cloud-based Munki repo that they manage. They manage the cloud-based part of it. You still have to import things into it. And so now, a lot of people say, well, we can't use Munki because I need a support contract. Well, I bet you can get a support contract from them. But what's nice is their changes led to a sort of plug-in architecture for the command line tools to be able to talk to something that's not just a local file system. So their changes were so that the command line tools like Munki import and make catalogs and that sort of thing could talk to their cloud-based. But other people have kind of taken the ball and run with it. Clayton Burleson has written a plugin for S3. So this way you can use Munki import and make catalogs and manifest util against a Munki repo that's stored in an S3 instance instead of a local file system. And I'm really interested to see what other things people do with it. I think there could be other cool plugins. Maybe Simian could evolve and you'd be able to use the command line tools against Simian. I know Victor was also working on some plugins for this feature. What's next? All right. So one of the things people really, really seem to like about Managed Software Center in Munki 2 and in Munki 3 is optional installs. It allows you to add software items for self-service install. It empowers the user. They can find the software they need. They can install it themselves. They don't have to call the help desk. They don't have to flag down a tech and say, hey, I need to have Flash installed on my machine. They can do it themselves. And so the tendency is people put more and more and more and more stuff in managed installs, and it gets really hard to navigate, and there's really a lot of stuff. I heard there was some place that thought, well, we can do our printers that way. We can do self-installed printers. And so they had 100 printers in their organization. So you've got all this software plus 100 printer icons. So it makes the view rather cluttered when you first open up Managed Software Center. So a new feature is featured items. And that's a list of things you want to feature on that first page of Managed Software Center. You can add that to a manifest. It could be in one of the included manifests, so it applies to all your clients, or it could be departmental size, so that this department gets this set of featured items, and this department gets a different set of featured items. And so it takes that giant list and makes it way more manageable and helps you guide your users to the applications and software you think are most important for them. Who's seen a dialogue like this recently? Anybody here? Who's seen it more than once this spring? I feel like I come across a new one about every week or so. This is what you see if a package has been signed with a certificate that has since expired. And I think we're seeing a rash of them this spring because a large number of vendors first got their signing certificate. I don't know what the default expiration date is, but that time ago, I think it was about 5 years ago, they first got those signing certificates, and they're all kind of expiring right now. So that's a pain in the butt. And you see this, you can kind of dig in a little bit. If you were looking at, if you were running it from the command line, you see that Munki goes, by default, I'm not going to install that because I don't trust it. You can use pkg-util to kind of dig into it too, and yep, you verify it was signed by a certificate that's since expired. So your options are either hope that the vendor has reissued the package with a non-expired certificate, or you can edit the package in some way. You can strip that signature from it, so the installer will happily install a package that has no signature. It just doesn't like one that has an expired signature. Or you can install the item by hand. But Munki 3 adds a new option for you. You can add a key to a package info saying that it's okay to allow an untrusted certificate for this package. It's not something we set at a global level. You do it package by package, so that way you can be sure that you understand why it's not trusted. Hopefully it's not trusted because it's expired, not that it's not trusted because it's been signed by a malware vendor. And if you do that, then Munki is perfectly happy to install that same package. It adds the allow untrusted flag to the installer command and installs it. So another thing, people really want to put as many things as possible into their optional installs to really, it takes the load off the help desk, it empowers users. Users are happier because they don't have to go through any sort of bureaucracy to get the applications they need. They can do it themselves. If it's free software, or software you have a site license for, or software that maybe you've got an enterprise license, it makes a lot of sense. But sometimes people want to put software in that maybe you have a limited set of licenses for. Maybe it's not licensed for the entire organization. And people asked me and said, wouldn't it be nice if Munki could somehow remove the software from people who weren't using it? So if you have 1,000 users, but you only have 500 licenses of something, and you want to make sure that only the people who are actually using the software have it, wouldn't it be nice if Munki could kind of track the usage, and if it hasn't been used for a certain amount of time, yank the software automatically? So I think you probably guessed by now, Munki 3 does support that with yet another package info key with the really easy to remember name, unused software removal info. And what you do is you give it a list of bundle IDs, which those are the bundle IDs for the applications. It'd be good, like if you wanted to have Office removed, you might have a bundle IDs for Word and Excel and PowerPoint and all that sort of thing. If it's just a single app, you'd have a single entry. And then you tell it how long you consider it unused before you remove it. I think the default is 30 days, but you can set that to pretty much any value you want. I'm sorry?
Catalog or manifest?
It's in a manifest.
Oh, manifest.
So Munki runs. It sees that the item hasn't been used, and it will remove it. So let's do a live demo. Hope this works. I'm going to, actually I'm going to switch back to mirroring so I can look and type here and you can see what I'm doing there. Yay. Okay, so here's my OmniGraffle Pro. I'm going to switch to plist view, and I'm going to simply rename this key here. So now I have unused software removal info. Listing the bundle ID for the OmniGraffle Pro application and the removal days 30. And we'll save that. Doesn't quite fit on this screen. So rebuild catalogs. And we can see in the Finder that I do have OmniGraffle Professional installed. So now let's bring up, this will work. Managed, that's good too. So I'm just going to let it run in the background, figure out if there's anything it needs to do. So wait a few seconds here. I'm running a local Munki server, so I didn't have to worry about internet or Wi-Fi. So I get a little, there's a demonstration of Notification Center. I get a little notification, and if I go get the details on it, Managed Software Center will launch, and it shows me that OmniGraffle Professional will be removed. Well, do you really want to warn your users that you're pulling this software out from underneath them? You might, but if you don't, what we could have done, what we probably should have done, was marked it for an unattended install. And so now, so keep your eye right here, OmniGraffle Professional. So we will run Managed Software Update Auto this time again. So that just simulates what it does if it's running automatically in the background, which it does about once an hour. Oh, and it removed it. Let's go back to mirroring, not mirroring. All right, so let's do a recap of the new features. We've got native install, macOS application support, authorized restarts for FileVault 2 volumes, Notification Center support, repo plugins, featured items, allowing the install of untrusted packages, and automatic removal of unused software. So that's all stuff that's been added. Has anything been removed? Yes. Munki 2 runs on a really wide range of versions of Mac OS, but we're going to drop a few of those for Munki 3. And so Munki 3 will run certainly through 10.12. The intention, of course, is 10.13, but we're a little early on that. And you may be thinking, when will Munki 3 be available? Well, we're going to do another live thing here. Munki 3 was going to be available today, but I'm going to bring Matt up on stage, and he's actually going to push the button to make it available today. So come on, Matt. Let's see. Well, yeah. So we're going to do two things here.
Make sure to dictate your password out loud to him.
That's right.
I already stole your credentials.
Okay. First, we'll see if the internet's working. Okay. Really close. All right.
So nervous.
And now, yeah, don't screw this up, Matt.
Breathe.
No pressure.
All you have to do, click right there, publish release.
Scroll up and do discard.
Do it. Click it.
Drum roll.
job.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Clap for a Git release.
Why wouldn't a room of it's MacDevOps? Of course we're going to clap for a Git release. I mean, that's an amazing thing.
I like how you managed to release it in the future.
I know, isn't that great? It's been released a minute from now. So that's it. Questions? No questions.
Should we let Tom Kemp go?
Well, wait for the mic.
Okay, questions. Speakers by alphabetical order. Dodge.
So, as a part of the customization in terms of how long it takes for them to get the prompt, did you do any other customizability to that other than interval? Like, can I say I only want to get the big pop-up windows on Wednesdays?
Pull request accepted. Not necessarily approved, but the idea of the request is accepted. Yes.
Have you verified if the native support for macOS install applications also works with High Sierra? They made some changes.
I did a very quick. Did you say you have verified it, or are you asking if I have?
I'm asking if you verified it.
I did a quick test last night. I had a VM running 1011. I imported High Sierra into my local Munki repo, and I had Munki kick off the install of High Sierra on that VM, and it worked. But of course, as we all know, VMware can't actually boot High Sierra unless you turn off, unless you turn off the conversion to APFS. So Munki doesn't know how to do that. I don't know if that's a feature people will want, but if it is, people should probably ask for that. Because right now it'll just do whatever the default is when it installs OS 10, which of course is to convert to APFS.
There is a command line flag for this part.
Right, but Munki would need to use it, and it doesn't know how to do that yet.
Questions?
Using Munki to add as well as reclaim licenses from cloud-based services like Office 365, Adobe, that sort of thing.
Because I'm not sure I understand the question.
Can you use Munki 3 to add or remove licenses from cloud-based services?
Can you use Munki 3 to add or remove licenses from cloud-based services? Munki 3 directly? No. Could Munki 3 run a script at install or removal to do that? If you write the script, yes, it could. But I would imagine each cloud-based thing has a different API for doing that, and probably some vendors don't even bother giving you an API for that. So in theory, possible, but no, it's not something that's built in directly to the product.
Hey,
yes?
just as a follow-up to that, and that has been done. Nick McSpadden over at Facebook has actually written up a blog post about how he did integrate automation with Adobe Cloud Licensing with Munki.
Right.
And Tableau as well.
Right.
So it has been done.
But there's no generic mechanism.
Right,
to
exactly.
do that.
It's going to be vendor
And I think a generic
specific.
mechanism would be extremely difficult to create, yes.
But nothing should have changed between Munki 2 and 3 anyway.
Oh, that's actually something I didn't mention is since there's no server-side changes in Munki 3, you can run Munki 2 and 3 clients side by side, no problem. So you can transfer people over to Munki 3 gradually. You don't have to pull the ripcord and move everybody. They just don't get the Munki 2 clients just don't get the new features. But you can add all that stuff, and Munki 2 clients will just ignore it. Yeah.
I'm not sure with auto package how much support would there need to be added for the plugins to from auto package to automatically import into a remote repository.
Okay, so I think the question is will there need to be changes to auto packages, processors, to be able to use the plugins for Munki 3? Yes. I believe Centrify kind of has forked their own version of some of the auto package processors for now. But yeah, the intention would be to make auto package processors smarter and start using those plugins, which I think is probably going to require doing some refactoring of some of the stuff in Munki to make that code more easily available to be called by auto package. But yeah, it definitely.
Mark?
Greg, can you speak a little bit more about the authorized restarts and the caching of that authentication data? Like, what is that, like hashed
Sure.
and then reversed, or?
Sure. So there's two ways you can do authenticated restarts. One is you provide a plist. You know, how you get that on the machine is up to you. You provide a plist that just simply has that password or key. You'd want to put it someplace that isn't world readable, obviously, but since Munki runs as root, it can read other places. It's up to you to decide whether that's a security issue or not, keeping that local on the machine. If you don't do that, all hope is not lost. You can ignore that feature, and there is a daemon that is running in the background. Well, it can be launched on demand in the background. It runs as root. So when the user is prompted for their password to authorize a restart, that password is sent via Unix sockets to this root level daemon, which keeps it in memory. And then later, when it comes time to do the restart, the Munki code asks that daemon, hey, do you have a password for me? And again, comes over. So the password is never written to disk. It's never transmitted via command line. You wouldn't be able to see it in output of PS. But so it's held in memory, and it is only the only two things that we'll talk to are FDE setup and the actual Munki code. But the only thing it ever gives the password to is FDE setup. Once it receives it, the only thing it would ever write it back out to is FDE setup to set up the authorized restart. So are there possible security holes in there? There might be. And I'm certain if people can identify them and we can figure out a way to work around them, let's do that. But it feels reasonably secure.
Is it temporal in that it's purged by the very same process once it's done with it?
I don't think I got that.
Is the caching of that data temporal in that it's purged by the same daemon or process once it's done with it?
Well, it's in memory, so if you reboot it, it's gone. You shut down, it's gone. It does not currently hold it for a certain amount of time. That might be a good enhancement, that if I've asked for the password and I haven't rebooted in an hour, maybe something's funky going on and I should bail it. It doesn't currently do that, but that might be a good idea to add. Questions? All right, thank you.